Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Ryan here from Game Essays. Today, talking about Pokemon Legends Arceus. I've been really anticipating this game, and it's finally here. I've had a chance to play a few hours of it and want to give my thoughts so far. This is going to be a very quick, to-the-point video to let you guys know what I think and to possibly help those who are on the fence about the game help facilitate that decision about whether they want to buy it or not. So I'm going to just jump right in. And I'm going to start with the good stuff, then I'll go over the bad stuff, and then who I would recommend this game to. So starting with the good stuff, this is the foundation for what I would think is the Pokemon game I personally have been waiting for, and I think a lot of people have been waiting for. And that is a more ambitious Pokemon game where you're exploring. Pokemon are out in the overworld, they're dangerous, they can hurt you. This is the adventure I've been waiting for. Is it perfect? Definitely not, but it's not an open world game, but it's the kind of Pokemon adventure game that I've been waiting for ever since Pokemon Stadium came to the Nintendo 64, and I was, my imagination ran wild about what a Pokemon game could be. We never really got something like that until now. Like I said, it's not as mind-blowing as I might have thought it was going to be, but it's still very good, and like I said, a great foundation for what could potentially become even better in years to come, and I really hope that's the case. So far, things like throwing Pokeballs, just being able to freely throw a Pokeball to have your Pokemon help you get items like berries and break rocks, and then if a wild Pokemon you want to start a battle with it, the fact that you can just freely throw that Pokeball and start the encounter is just really cool. It's just having more options. The fact that you can stealth catch these Pokemon if you don't even want to have a battle. It's kind of taking what people liked about Pokemon Go with just, we learned with Pokemon Go how fun it is to just catch Pokemon, where the battles were kind of secondary. And it's kind of taken a little bit of that, and it's taken a little bit of the classic games, and then you have a little bit of, even things just like a more action-based game where you're trying to dodge these Pokemon attacking your character, not just your own Pokemon. So I love that whole thing. And then even when you're during the more traditional Pokemon battles, the fact that your character can actually kind of walk around during the battles to get a different viewpoint, that's really, really cool. Sometimes it's a little awkward where the kind of letterbox view will obscure the health bars of another Pokemon, so you get to kind of walk around to see what the health is at. That's a little weird with the UI, but nevertheless, the fact that, like I said, it's just the freedom of movement that you've never had in these games before. It's really cool. Pokemon just feel dangerous, and the fact that if you're not careful about where you choose to battle Pokemon, they can gang up on you, and you can be dealing in 3v1 situations. So it's a challenging game that I'm surprised how much it doesn't hold back. Like, Pokemon hit hard in this game, and I appreciate the challenge. It's forcing you to use items that normally you wouldn't use nearly as much unless you're like in the Elite Four, basically. Things like potions and revives are things in the game traditionally in Pokemon that I'm not using a ton, like I said, until you get to really intense battles towards the end of the game. A lot of times it's very easy to just sweep your way through battles and then just run to the next Pokemon Center. But in Pokemon Legends Arceus, you're going to be way out in the field sometimes, and it's not going to be worth it to you to warp all the way back, and your Pokemon are going to get hit a lot. So you're going to be finding yourself using potions and stuff a lot, and that's going to make you want to be gathering all the resources in the area to make sure that you can keep up and use those items, as well as, have a healthy supply of those items. So the whole loop of catching Pokemon and getting supplies and everything is very fun, and it makes you really want to explore. So I love everything about that. It's also cool to see some Pokemon for the first time in this game, even if you've seen them in previous games. Especially Pokemon that are out of reach. Like, I climbed this mountain and I saw a Gyarados flying around, and I was just kind of blown away by it. And there's kind of a spectacle the first time you see some of these bigger and more intense looking Pokemon. And the fact that there's this Gyarados flying around, and as far as I am in the game, I don't really have a way of getting to that. So it's kind of like a nice little teaser for when I will be eventually able to get that. So there's some cool moments like that that I really appreciate. And I love that there's missions in this game. Not only you have your main quest, but you have these side missions to do. And I don't want to spoil anything for people who haven't picked it up yet, but there are some really cool side missions, including ones that maybe you get a special version of a Pokemon. So I definitely encourage people to do the side missions. I've only done a few so far, but I plan on probably doing almost all of them if I can. They added some other things that, are similar to, not super similar, but, there's little like extra things you can collect around, kind of like how you collect heart pieces in Zelda or something like that. Although this doesn't exactly help your like health or anything, but I like that there's something like that, or similar to like even like the Korok seeds, right? It's an extra thing that if you want 100% the game, you got to explore every nook and cranny. Now, moving on to the bad. The definite first thing I would say about this game that is bad in is just the intro is way too long. There's too much dialogue. It's too slow to start. Once you get through it, things pick up, it gets a lot better, but it goes on for a while. Like, it feels like the tutorial is basically the entire first area. You'll have those moments where you can freely explore as long as you want, but then you're kind of just like sucked back into the whole intro sequence. So granted, you do have as much time as you want to accomplish those little, like in those little pockets in between, but they hold your hand for a long time in the intro. And I get it. It's a very new Pokemon game, a new experience and they want to make sure people understand what's going on. But I could also see this turning some people away from the game because it really does drag on. And I wish there was they were a little more clever with how they did this, because the game is fun. And the only thing really holding it back right now is that it gets in its own way by bogging you down with dialogue. And there's a lot in it. And they're developing characters, and I appreciate that. But I think they needed to be a little more sleek with how they presented that. So yeah, that's probably my biggest complaint so far, is that the intro just goes on way too long. Graphics, I mean, everyone's talked about this. It's just not gonna wow you. It's not gonna be this incredible, breathtaking scenery. It looks okay, and it looks fine enough. Like, I'm not gonna knock it too hard. It doesn't look outright ugly. Sometimes it just looks kind of bland. And some people might, art style, it's kind of a subjective thing, right? So it's gonna look worse to some people than others. It just doesn't like amaze me, right? It just looks flat, and that's okay because the gameplay's fun enough, and I'm just willing to accept that. One thing though that is very like embarrassingly bad is when Pokemon, I mean, there's frame rate issues, but when Pokemon are just barely out of your field of view, I assume to just like save space or whatever, they all of a sudden, those Pokemon, their frame rate goes down to like 2 frames a second. It is incredibly bad. I have some footage of a Rapidash that you're probably seeing as I'm talking about this, but you can see when a Pokemon is just barely out of view, it is like going at 2 frames a second. It's kind of like when everyone saw the Chingling in the original trailer and it looked horrible. It basically looks like that. And yeah, that basically they should have just made that Pokemon disappear as opposed to us seeing that, because it's really just kind of like exposing. It's kind of like seeing behind the curtain, right? It's just not something that a player should be experiencing. So that's kind of the good and the bad. I'm really enjoying it so far. Like I said, great foundation for a Pokemon game. I think there's definitely some room for improvement, but of course, I mean, there could be plenty more surprises along the way, and I will be eventually doing a formal review of the game, not to the same depth that I do my Zelda reviews, but definitely will go deeper into all the aspects of the game as well as cover any spoiler stuff in that video. So, right off the bat, for my recommendations, just playing the, probably 4 to 5 hours that I've played so far, is anyone expecting to be blown away me being the Zelda fan, I'm just going to reference a Zelda game. Anyone expecting to be blown away like they were with Breath of the Wild, quell your expectations. It's still a very fun game. Hardcore Pokemon fans will love this game. They don't need to hear it from me. They're probably already playing the game. The only hardcore Pokemon fans I would say probably won't enjoy this is people are only interested in competitive Pokemon. If you're only interested in competitive Pokemon, you may not find this satisfying because I don't believe that there's going to be competitive for this. Don't quote me on that, but that seems to be the case from what I've seen. But I think hardcore and casual Pokemon fans alike will find a lot to like about this game, and anyone who's never been interested in Pokemon before, I'm not sure what to tell you. I don't know if this will do it for you. Like I said, I could see that long intro turning a lot of people away, so it's really a game for Pokemon fans, and I don't know if it's the game that will get some people into Pokemon, maybe, but tough for me to say. Anyway, those are my thoughts, guys. Let me know what you guys think of the game so far if you played it, and I'll see you guys next time.